One thing I really miss from my time in corporate sales is watching my boss try to mess everything up with customers by not being able to simply just say, no, we can't do that. Now, some of you are aware, I would go out of my way to keep my boss away from my customers, but occasionally he would find a way to slither in. Shout out to George. Here's how he did it. He checked my engineer's calendar. My calendar was a mystery. I made it so no one could figure it out because that was how, George would just show up to appointments, which I think is so ridiculous. It's what he would do to my teammates. They would just be, waiting in the lobby somewhere and they'd be like, George is here. He wouldn't tell them. I think that's such a ridiculous move. But again, his mission is to inspire evil. He's a demon. But anyways, we're in this meeting and I'll spare you the technical details, but they want us to open our network in a way we couldn't do. But if we could, it would have led to a bunch of numbers and sales. My engineer had worked hard on it and we couldn't get the approvals and it just wasn't going to happen at all. But anyways, George the Demon's at this meeting now and just kind of sitting there. He's not talking much, which, we're like, thank God. Then at the end, my engineer starts talking about, again, sorry, we tried. And then George jumps in and he's like, whoa, he's like, well, hey, let's not close the book on this. And me and the engineer just start looking at each other like, what are you doing? And George was like, yeah, let me talk to the director and we'll see, there's probably something we can do. And me and the engineer are just shooting daggers at him like, for 6 months, we've been working on this. So anyways, we leave, we try to brief the demon and I figured out certain people from a certain time, they have this view of customer service that to simply tell someone no and save their time is rude. And then it's better to just be like, hey, let's see what we can do, knowing full well we can't do anything. Anyways, George sets up a meeting with the director. He's like, I think the director really needs to talk to these customers. I go, so you're telling me we're gonna have the director tell them no? Like, hey, I know we've told you no, but have you been told no by the director? Anyways, George sets up this meeting. I am so irritated. I finally do what I'm not supposed to do. I pick up the phone, break the chain of command, go above my boss, which was seen as like such a thing you shouldn't do at my company. And I call the director and I was like, hey, about this meeting George just set up, here's what's going on. And he just goes, oh, that's not what George said at all. We shouldn't do that. And I go, yeah. And he's like, why would George even set this meeting up? I go, well, he is a demon.